Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second annual Voices of Unity event. It is so beautiful to be here with my partner here, Miss So Young Lee Segredo from the Multicultural Council of New York. My name is LaShawn Walker. I am the founder of Your Our Unity, a socially conscious community outreach network, as well as the host of the Your Our Unity show. We are live streaming right now from Strong Island Studios here in Massapequa, New York. And you can catch this episode on YouTube as well. But today we are talking about unity. We are talking about bridging our stories and building our future. And we have a studio audience here today. I want to also introduce my partner in crime, Miss So Young Lee Segredo.
Good morning. How are you?
You hear the audience in the background. Thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you So Young for being here. Tell me, why are we doing this? What's the reason for this event?
Well, many times in my updated bio, I write down, I do try to live one day at a time, changing small step at a time. So to me, it is very important to know our own history, our own culture, but at the same time, open the arms and embrace other cultures. Because if we start to find the differences, we will go the wrong way. Yeah. We have to try to collect many similarities and unite. Yeah. That's why we are here.
Yes, I so agree. I mentioned earlier that, I grew up around so many diverse people. I didn't realize people were from a different nationality or their color was different. I was more attracted to their heart. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized that people were put into these categories and people were put into these bubbles. And after I really started to talk to them, I realized that we all kind of aspired for the same thing. We wanted a happy life, happy family. We wanted money, you know what I mean? We wanted to be able to take care of our children. We wanted to be able to give back. We wanted to be able to support others. So that's why we're having this discussion today.
You know that you had me how many times as your guest, right?
Yes.
So in Korea, when I was growing up, my father was a rent collector for his father, and he owned several homes. And I go there and meet people, and this person complained about this person from this province, this person from that province. And then I'm looking at the adult, I was only 5. Can't we just get along as a one Korean?
Yes.
From that on, I was very conscious about how about we share the different kimchi, Korean cabbage, made from this province. How about different arirang song from this province? Instead of we talking about that person is this and that person is that, open up your heart and then get to know about it. Yeah. That's what I was thinking about at age 3 and 4.
Yeah. And that's beautiful. And I think that's what we want to teach today, that we have to encourage our youth to do that. I grew up in that era that everyone was from a different area in the world. And yet I was introducing everyone together. I wasn't just hanging out with my African American friends and then hanging out with the Jewish friends. And I was actually bringing them all together. And they realized once I did that, I put us all in the same room, we hung out at the same parties, that they were more alike than they were different. And that's what I loved about my upbringing until, like I said, you become an adult and things just change. But even then, I felt it was even more of a mission for me to bring people together and make sure that we're allowing our voices to be heard.
Yes, so Multicultural Council of New York and Asian Pacific American Council of Long Island, our members are Chinese, Korean, Cuban, Greek, African American, Jewish, you name it, Thai and Chinese, because we need to embrace the differences. I'm constantly mentioning that. embracing. And we also are talking about current, situation, what's going on. And then we have to move on for the future, no matter what. We cannot stay behind. We cannot just stay negative. That's
so
my
right.
feeling.
And that's so true. And that's why Your Unity was formed too, because again, we wanted to remind each and every one of us that we have the power to make that change. And we all do. I see some amazing, beautiful faces in here. And I can tell that, even though we may look similar, that you're from different parts of the world. You've all had different experience and different upbringings. And it is important that you're able to share that with the people that you're connected with and show them exactly what we can do together to forge a better future, because it's getting scary outside. It really is. It's putting, I don't want to say fear, because I'm a God-fearing person. So I believe that he's going to handle everything, but it worries me. And it worries me because we have youth growing up. We have 3 children in here, and I deal with a lot of youth and around a lot of youth. And it worries me that they're not going to have a fulfilled future because they're going to be battling the problems and the issues of our generation, the adults of this world. So it is important that we instill in them that regardless of what's going on outside, that they have that power and they have that authority. And all we have to do is just give them the tools to do it, and not just say, follow me, but show me how to do it. And so that's the goal. So we don't want to tarry too long. We have an amazing speaker here, a friend of So Young, Lisa Grado, and she's going to introduce him. But I'd like to thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I hope that you're excited for the next couple of hours to come. Thank you.
As we talked about current situation and moving forward in the future, I don't know that person is exactly my friend, but becoming a friend. I've been in the real estate, and then I went to real estate event, and I met this gentleman. But while he's presenting things about real estate, he did bring up something that touched my heart. So I don't want to give too much introduction, but I think our life connects with education, family, society, communities, and economic development. I think that's very important. They all are connected under one umbrella. So, 7 steps to financial freedom, a simple, easy to execute strategy to create your financial freedom, written by Joel Kraut. Let's welcome Joel.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sonia. Move that forward. Careful. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for having me today. To LaShawn and So Young, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. For me, I get to travel the country a lot, and my life has changed dramatically over the last 20-ish years. I started out in Jamaica, Queens, and I grew up there in the 70s and early 80s. And Jamaica has gone through tremendous upheaval over the years and sort of reversed and started to regentrify again. But I was there for some very difficult times. I remember specifically, So Young described something that happened to her very early in her life when she was 3, 4, 5 years old. But I remember, anybody here remember the Good Humor truck, the ice cream truck, right? All right. I like to go with easy questions early. All right. So I'm about 9 or 10 years old. I'm coming home from school. I just got off the subway. Back then, we took the subway to elementary school. And on Wednesdays, my father would give me 10 cents to get ice cream. The truck was there on Wednesdays. But I didn't really understand what happened. If you've ever been around the area, and I'm sure most of you have seen this, those blue saw horses that police uses to block off areas. So I come around the corner. I'm excited. I'm like ready to dig in, go get my whatever pop it was or whatever it was. And there's these blue signs up, and I can't go forward. I don't understand why. And there's a sniper up on the apartment building roof. And I didn't know what a sniper was. I was only 10. was my first sort of indoctrination to learning about how difficult life can be and how real it can be quickly, right? So there was somebody up on the roof of our apartment building where I lived taking shots at humans. And I hadn't really personally experienced that yet. Having been in the real estate business for a long time now, I unfortunately have experienced that 2 other times. Unfortunately, those shots were at me. But we're here, very fortunate to have not had that happen. So we've had all kinds of crazy, insane things happen. We started out on an amazing run in the early 2000s. For some of you, if you're on Instagram and you see things on real estate, they're talking about how you can buy all this property with no money down, do all these cool creative things, and people will just give you unbelievable net wealth. Well, we used to do that before it was really cool to do it. And I built a large portfolio of about 144 properties in 40 months. We had 1,000 tenants. And then, unfortunately, the markets took a very significant change. So in 1 week, in about, I think it was the first quarter or second quarter of 2008, I had 500 people call me up and tell me, Mr. Crowd, you're a nice guy, but we're just not going to be able to pay the rent. I had 500 out of 1,000 people do that. I didn't realize the exposure I had to the third shift at Walmart and one of the largest supermarket chains in upstate New York, IGA. And they'd laid off the whole third shift. And everybody was getting unemployment, but they weren't going to give it to me because they were taking care of their houses first, which I understood. Obviously, it was a disaster for me, but I got it. So I spent about 6 weeks on the couch. I felt like I took a bullet in the forehead. And at the time, my wife said to me, it was probably like 10:30 in the morning one morning. I had my bowl of cereal, got my shorts on, T-shirt, looked like a disaster. She says, look, honey, you got to either go get a job, get out of the house, because the girls are really scared. Like, they're not used to seeing you home now. And now you're not even getting dressed up for work. They just see you kind of laying around like they don't know what's going on. Well, fast forward, we go through an unbelievable upheaval. I basically lose everything. I went from being the guy with 100 best friends to 3 because I couldn't afford to pay for everybody else anymore. So I went through about $4.2 million in under 18 months, which is pretty good chunk. Can set you back. But, through it, I learned the resiliency of life, right? You begin to understand that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. What I did learn, though, the hard way, the very hard way, from foreclosures, utilities being turned off, divorce, all the sad stories you usually hear associated with the real estate world. I've lived them. I owned a restaurant in Marlboro, New Jersey on Route 9, and I slept in my car behind it for about 5 days because I didn't really have a place to go at the time yet because I was too embarrassed to go inside to my partners and even ask for help. So a friend of mine who's one of the 3 best friends still to this day, my best friend, him and his wife actually opened their house to me and allowed me to live there during the summer in the basement. And I remember, very vividly, her name is Lily. And to me, she's Rocky. Anybody see the Rocky movie, right? The amazing strength and just willing to go forward no matter what it takes, right? So Lily's a stage 4 cancer survivor. And at the time, she was going back and forth to Sloan Kettering. And I was a single guy for the first time in a long time, and I didn't really even understand how to do laundry, no less really take care of myself, right? They had these beautiful washer dryers, which to me, I'm looking for the on-off button. I can't even find it. It makes no sense to me. There's all these things. She gets up off the couch, takes the blanket off of her, comes over, and just insists in her house that she's not going to let me do the laundry because this is her house and this is how she runs it. And I just remember thinking to myself, how could you have the audacity to give up when someone like that is doing that for you, right? So it began to give me better perspective in life. And that was the beginning of a very different journey for me. So I lost all my money, lost 97 impossible friends, and my 3 remaining friends were really annoying. They were so annoying because they just wouldn't take my crap. They wouldn't take, woe is me, I can't believe it happened, how am I going to do this, what should I do, I got nothing. They wouldn't accept any of that from me. They basically put their foot on my neck and said, listen, you're a pretty smart guy. You have no choice but to go figure it out. You got ex-wives, you got kids, and they're all dependent on you. Whether you like it or not, you have responsibilities, and you're going to have to go face them. And sometimes, you know, they were really nice to me. They'd lend me $500 when I needed it, when I just really couldn't make ends meet. And at probably like the single lowest point, anybody ever been to the Caribbean on vacation? It's awesome, right? They have these duty-free shops. I remember I was doing really well in the late 90s, early 2000s. I was there with the wife, and I bought a couple of watches that were really nice, that infinitely cheaper than you could buy the same thing in America. And I thought, wow, you know, I'm a cool guy. I made it, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, years later, fast forward, if anybody's ever been divorced and you go through the courts, Wednesday night is automatically divorce dad night for dinner, and then you have alternative weekends. So it was my Wednesday, except I had a problem. I had no money. I had zero. My kids had never experienced not being able to eat before. So I took the 2 watches that I had, and I went to a pawn shop. And I remember, like, I had to negotiate with the guy. So I sold 2 watches for $100 each. They're, I don't know, probably worth somewhere between $1,500 and $5,000 each for $100 each, because I just felt like I had no choices, right? So we went to one of the restaurants we owned, which is the irony of it all. I kind of lost that in divorce, so even though I was, quote, an owner, I wasn't getting anything from it anymore. But the guys were kind enough to let me just leave a tip and not have to pay for, quote, the meal. So out of my $200, I probably left like $35, and I had another $165 to make it through the next week or so. So I've learned, you know, tremendously from these trials and tribulations that we go through in life, that the most important thing are the relationships that we build in life, right? Because at the end of the day, we all really want the same thing. I could go around the room, we could all measure it differently, we could talk about it a little differently, but we really want the ability to have the freedom to control how we live every day under our own rules and terms, so that we don't have to be subjected to how everybody else wants us to live. And I think we all relate on that level. It's going to have different budgets for different people, but if you really break it down to its most basic levels, which is what I try to help people do, right? Because the world moves so fast, everyone gets so overwhelmed. Our perspective is horrific. So I have 5 natural kids and 2 ex-stepdaughters. So I had 7 kids all at once. They're all in a 10-year band. Now you can imagine when it's time to get cars and you live in a, quote, a nice neighborhood, the disaster on your hand, right? One kid's coming home with a Porsche, one kid's coming home with an Audi, and my kid's getting like a Ford Fusion 2 years old. So, you know, we went through all that. And I would try to explain to them, I said, look, they have 1, 2 children in the family. We have 7. If it's a problem for you to drive a new car, you let me know. You can take my used car, and I'll take your new car, and you could actually chip in for gas and insurance, right? Unfortunately, we spend a lot of time as parents. I know I'm guilty. I can speak for myself. We want to make it so much better and easier for the other people that are we really helping them becomes a question. And depending on where you are, what neighborhoods, what areas, wherever you grow up, the people you're interacting with, we always have to learn how to balance that out, because at some point we're not helping the other person by just enabling them. And that's really when I lost everything. That was the first times that I really began to understand that at its most basic level. You know, my father worked for me for 16 years. We used to cut him a check every 2 weeks. So I didn't grow up bad, but I didn't grow up well-to-do. And we worked. Everybody worked. It's the only thing we knew how to do, right? But I went to school here in America. And for the younger people that go to school in America, I'm so frustrated with the American public education system. It's unbelievable. So now I'm 60 years old, 62 actually. And for decades, I had been taught, if you want to make more money, the only way to do it is to go work more hours, go get another job, right? It was the worst crock of crap that had ever been dealt to me. There's a great book out by a guy named Dan Sullivan. It's called The Who, Not the How. And in today's world, for the young people, learning who to build your team with so that you can do great things that are bigger than what you can do just by yourself is really the key to your long-term success. For me, my world just reopened again 2 months ago. I learned how to use ChatGPT. Anybody else? Right? It's unbelievable. What used to take me a month to prepare now can take an hour or two. Right? But learning and not being afraid was the key. You know, for a while, guys in my office, the 25-year-olds, 24-year-olds would be like, boom, get out of the way, do this. And I would be overwhelmed. But one of the guys finally slowed down enough to actually show me instead of just do it for me. And now I feel like a new person. And that's at 62. So one of my biggest fears for people is I always kind of tell this story, and So Young heard me do this when we were together. And I want you just to imagine for a minute. I'm 80 years old, right? I'm living in a really small apartment, studio somewhere. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's cold out. It's dark out. I get out of bed. I go take a quick shower. I go to the front door of my apartment. And I grab the apron off the wall. I go down to the bus stop. It's freezing cold out, dark, rainy. I wait for the bus. I'm 80 years old. I wait for the bus. Get on the bus. I go 2 stops. I get out. I go inside the store. I put my apron on. I go to the counter. I say, ma'am, can I supersize that for you? Or would you like milk in your coffee? McDonald's, right? Supersize the meal. There you go. The problem is, I used to think that that would be my fallback if everything went wrong. The problem is McDonald's opened a 100% automated store. And you know what happened in that store yesterday, right? On a Friday, Halloween, not one employee showed up late. Nobody asked for a raise. Nobody needed union benefits. Every hamburger was cooked 3 minutes and 2 seconds, perfect. And the register was perfect because they only accepted plastic. So we have to prepare for ourselves. I travel around a lot, and I'll go into a diner somewhere in America at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm having lunch, finally getting there. The person serving me, you look up, and they look like me, except they're 75, 78, almost 80 years old. And they're like a little beat up, and the shoulders are down, and you can see the hips and the legs. Like, we can't want that for each other. We have to help each other now, right? Waiting for the government, I mean, come on. Is that really ever going to work? Not really. But to both ladies' points, people are really 2 types of people, as I see it. They're either good or they're not. Is there really any other way to define it? Some are sweeter than others. Some, I get that part. But basically, you either have good intentions and you live them, or you starts with an A and ends with an E, and there's a couple letters in between, right? And we want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt until they prove themselves to be the A. And that's kind of how I try to go around the country. We need to continue to drive unity together. Education, grow it in every corner. And the opportunity is so different now than it's ever been. Every one of you, every one of us can go to Harvard Business School right now for $99 a month. Do you know how you do that? Does anybody else have a phone? Does anybody else scroll on the phone? Every single thing that every Ivy League educated person is available if you just spend enough time figuring out where it is on the phone. And you can learn all the same things that other people around America are paying $500 to $1,000 of credit for $99 a month. And somebody, either yourself, somebody in your family, an extended somebody, the business, whomever, is paying that fee for you. So to not take advantage of it is insane, right? No one really asks anymore, where'd you go to college? How'd you do in that class? Who cares, right? You're into the workforce for 12 months. People want to know what you can do, and are you continuing learning, right? That's how you're moving your life forward. It's not by what we used to do. I got a resume from somebody, and they're telling me what they did in college 5 years ago. I'm like, dude, you're 26 years old. Who cares? I didn't even ask you what college you went to. How about what you've been doing for 5 years in the workforce, right? How are you moving yourself forward? How are we collectively helping each other? The opportunities have never been better for all of us in that respect. I know it's frightening because we have chat and we have other versions. I learned how to use Napkin AI too. It was amazing. It's just unbelievable, the world, how fast it changes. But with that, if you embrace it and get over your own fear, because we all live with the monster between our ears, right? Self-doubt, I'm not sure, can I do it? I lost $4.2 million in 18 months. I went from, quote, being a rich guy, lost 97 friends, down to 3, had to understand what it's like to actually borrow $500 when you desperately needed it, and had to look somebody in the eye and say, look, I need to borrow this. I'm being honest with you. I'm going to pay you back, but I'm not sure when and how fast. And some people would say no, but others would say yes, and they would help you and move forward. From there, it was on you, on me, to do the right thing to show that I was worthy of that on a consistent basis. And as I began to do that and rebuild that trust with people, it was amazing the opportunities that would happen. Like, I didn't realize there would ever be a chance for a comeback. So for me, in about 2011, the real estate world kind of changed, and we started to come out of this massive recession, the biggest one we've had in a long, long time. And people, all of you, started to learn that you could buy one of these properties, put a little love on it, and sell it higher. And all of a sudden that became a business. It had never really been a business before for the public. So I basically worked like 80 to 100 hours a week for a decade to kind of rebuild myself. But I didn't know that that chance would be there. People thought I was insane. You work too much, you do this too much. Well, no one knows what everybody else has to go through, right? So we don't spend time judging it. We should actually support each other in it. So to me, that's the crucial step, supporting each other in it. So to be here today in a diverse community, young, old, white, black, all different races and religions, I mean, to the lady's points, you're either a good person or you're not. And the sooner America starts to figure that out, the sooner we can move it forward positively. Because what's happened now, the amount of resources that we spend on insanity is crazy. And then we talk about cutting everything for everybody. It's this conundrum of nonsense and noise that could really be changed dramatically if we could figure out how to like get along and support each other. I'm not really a political person, but to me that seems like a basic thing we should all be able to figure out, right? Right? I mean, I've been shot at. It's not fun. I would highly recommend against it, right? I mean, you know, so we can figure out some things and ways to maybe not have that be prevalent, right? I work a lot. Philadelphia is my second home now. I grew up and then eventually went to Penn State University. So I started to learn about Philadelphia and I started to go there a lot. And that's been my second home since about 2002. We've been buying and investing there. To see what's happened in gentrification in the city and just constantly roll through the whole city is just incredible. But there, it is, like New York, a melting pot of people. And the city has become suburbanized in the middle of the city. It's unbelievable what's happened with Baby Gap and Starbucks and all kinds of things popping up in areas that people would have told you were just out of your mind. I mean, I can remember, for many of you here, you're old enough to know, you remember when Harlem was Harlem? Right? Yeah, I saw the lady right there. Yeah, right? And I remember calling my father one day. I'm like on 125th and Powell, and I'm like, Dad, there's like a Baby Gap here now. It's like, where the hell are you? And I told him, you know, when Bill Clinton moved up there, things started to change. And, you know, now the IHOP's closed, but we used to use that as the office and meet people there for business meetings. Look, the point is, and the opportunity for all of us together is to begin to make a change, affecting it one person at a time. You don't know who it touches and reaches, and that's the point, right? Because you're going to go and be in audiences, and there's always someone who falls asleep. It happens. Right? There's always someone who really connects. But how many of the other people are you having a lasting impact on that you don't really realize? And you see them years later somewhere out, it's unbelievable. And to have that opportunity to have these special moments and be able to come and connect with everybody, I mean, that's really the difference, man. That's what it's about. It's not just about money. The relationships are the most important thing in your life. Money's going to come and go. Things, as we talked about off camera, things are going to come and go. They're not worth as much. When you need to sell them, they're worth nothing. I proved that with those watches, right? We've all had cars that have gotten a dent and instantly worth infinitely less. But the relationships, fostering those relationships and nurturing them and building them, I mean, that's the fabric of your life. And that's what the most meaning on a day-to-day basis and long term, that's where wealth comes from. You know, I know people say it's insane, you know, you talk about your losses, but to me, having those 3 best friends and still be my best friends, and they're the people I wrote about in the beginning of the book, like, that's the most important thing in my life. Like, I would do anything for them. They did anything for me. You know, they helped restabilize my life. And without them, I don't know where I would be today. That's the truth. So it's important for me for the next 20 years to have every opportunity to do these types of things, hopefully touch one person at a time, again, to your point, because it's that meaningful. Because we don't know where the next greatness will come from, and that opportunity could be very, very unique. And if you ever had a chance to touch it and help it and grow and water it, it's your responsibility to do that. That's how I see it for me. So that's what I'm going to spend the next 20 years of my life doing. So thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, sure. So for us, on Amazon, we have the book. You can buy it for 99 cents on the Kindle version. It's pretty simple. And then also, you can follow us on Burr, B with 4 R's, _loans, or myself, Joel, Joel, Burr, B with 4 R's on Instagram. Anybody here watch ever? Like Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent? And like kind of like we all secretly dream we have like a Super Bowl moment, that like golden buzzer kind of moment, right? Look, I know this will sound crazy because look at me. Look what I look like, right? I like to joke with people. I did all right for a guy, you know. You don't get this pretty without taking a few punches and, you know, face made for radio. But I had the opportunity recently to be on a podcast, and it dropped on iHeartRadio called Dropping Bombs with Brad Lee. And it actually got downloaded to 1 million people. So it's like, it could even happen to you. You just never know, man. You just got to stay at it. You can't give up. It's the only time you really lose is when you quit, right? I mean, it's just the truth. So, you know, those opportunities, we are a national sponsor and supporter of Lululemon. We bought enough Lululemon to actually be a national influencer for them. Could you imagine a guy who looks like me saying that? Lululemon? It's like come on, right? So things can happen, man. You just don't know. But if you don't quit and you keep nurturing your resources and you invest in your relationships, great things can happen. Now, we all define great different, and that's good. That's fine. That's what makes it fun and enjoyable. But again, thank you.
Thank you so much, Joel. That was amazing. I just want to share something about what he's wearing today. I was at the supermarket on Thursday, and I thought I pulled too close to the young lady in front of me and wasn't going to allow her enough space for her to lift her trunk. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay here. She ain't going to know who I am. I'm going to go in the store. They're not going to know. But anyway, she ended up coming out, and she's standing in front of me with her back turned to me, and her shirt said, "Dear person behind me, the world is a better place with you in it." And I just praised God at that moment. And I literally was like, I needed to see that. And not only because, you know, she was giving me grace for parking so close behind her car, but the fact is that in that moment, I was feeling something. I was going through something, you know?
It's hard to read it and not actually just feel something.
I felt something.
A really cold person.
Yes,
right?
yes.
There's some moment in your life where you quickly flip to it. It has some kind of impact.
Yeah.
That's important.
That is so important. Yep. And I shared that with her. As soon as I got out the car, I was like, thank you. I needed that. And we hugged, we exchanged information. I told her about this event and everything that Your Unity is doing. And that's a new person that's part of the mission, you know? So thank you so much, Joel. I so appreciate it. That was a wealth of information. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Okay, follow him. It's called Burr Loans, so that you can make sure yourself is heated up and warmed with money and a lot of money. All right, so we're gonna have a raffle now.
Yeah.
From Helena Slade. The raffle is going to be for a massage. massage. I don't know anybody here that's a little tense, had a little, stressful week or whatever, and just once, just a little 5-10 minute massage just to kind of wind down and cool out for a little while. So we're going to be pulling the number. And Helena, please come up real quick and share a little about what you do, who you are, where you're from.
Come on up. And how you got here. Hey.
Okay, hello everybody.
Hello.
So I'm Helena Slade. I'm a licensed massage therapist. And how I got into it was because my father passed away with colon cancer when I was about 17 years old. So me and my mom decided to get more into holistic healthcare. And we wanted to open up our own wellness center where we can help nurture people back to health using natural remedies, raw foods, colonics, and just taking care of ourselves. So I graduated a year early from high school, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And back then, I was like, I'm not touching nobody's feet. Like, I was one of those, like, oh, I ain't touching nobody's feet. And then when that happened, she was like, why don't you go to school for massage therapy? And then she is a colon hydrotherapist, so she does colonics. So I went, and so now that's what I do. And I have my own wellness center. It's still up and coming, and I'll be providing massages, facials, body scrubs, steam baths, infrared sauna treatments, the whole 9 yards, fresh juices. So, yeah.
All right. I think that is important because we all have stressful lives, some form, some way. We work hard. We take care of our families. Some people have illnesses, and we need to unwind sometimes. So it's important that we take care of our health and we be mindful of just our inner peace as well as our outer peace, what we put into our body, how we treat our body, and how we love on our body. Correct?
Well, I'm the one who goes to her. Yeah, I have been having some healthy issues, so I've been going to acupuncturist, to chiropractor, physical therapy, masseuse, about 3-4 decades, and I've been going to Helena, and she's great. So I hope whoever's pulled out today a few times, that was my idea. I think we can hear and listen and share our stories, but I thought actually we can able to do SEL time, making us feel good. So that's why Helena is here. Welcome, Helena.
Thank you.
So we have the first ticket.
73
Oh, get out your raffle ticket. 73
40
40
54
54
73 40 54.
Okay.
This is
Helena-
Diane
Helena is,
Cantal. She'll be going with you.
Helena
in the
is
back.
situated on the back.
Okay.
She has a table already.
Limbrook, Long
So go
Island,
now and then
193
enjoy.
Horton Avenue in Limbrook, New York.
Okay.
All right. You want to introduce lunch now?
Yes. Okay.
Oh, you don't need a mic.
Well, I think since last year, this studio has been updated and is beautiful. And I was asked to do mostly finger food. And since you know that I've been cooking all my life, I didn't want to just serve ham and cheese cold cut. So we're gonna have a lunch now. And menu is pulled chicken salad, sandwich on whole grain, organic whole grain, and white bread, and roll, and roast beef sandwich, and we have some, cheese and then small pepperoni type of finger food. I was told finger food. Ah, okay. So these are all finger food. So I hope we're not gonna
Yes, one of these.
dirty this place. And then I had to change all the menus. I was going to do Spanish and Korean authentic food, but it was changed. And then we have for dessert, cantaloupe, grapes, walnut cake, blueberries, pineapples, and pomegranate.
That sounds like hand food so young.
And
Full
we
hand.
have
That's not finger food. That's a hand food.
okay,
It's gonna be good.
hand has
It's
five
a
fingers.
It's a handful of food, my friends. So please
Okay.
enjoy. Yes, we're gonna set up now. Helena, you can go with Diane. I'll save you some hand food, okay?
And during the lunch, please do mingle and get to know each other. There are different type of professionals here among us today. Some came from Maryland, and some came from Hempstead, some from Elmont,
Yes.
and some came from
Westchester,
Westchester,
Jersey,
Jersey, Yonkers,
Everybody's in the house.
and Manhattan.
Yes.
So we are today gonna have a great time, and thank you for being here. Okay, let me go
Enjoy.
to set it up.
All right, we're setting up. We'll let you know when to come up. Thank you.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, we are back from our lunch break. Let's get a little shout in the audience. Did you guys enjoy your lunch? Yes, yes. Thank you so much. It was such a good moment that we shared together a little while ago. And thank you so much, So Young Lee, as well, for providing this amazing, what she called finger food. And I said it is handful. It was a handful of good food. And I hope that you all enjoyed every morsel of it. So we are back with our panel of amazing speakers, people that I've met throughout my journey of building Our Unity. And I am so honored to have them here to discuss, bridging our stories. The title of this event is Bridging Our Stories and Building Our Future. And I thought it was so important that we bring on some power hitters that I feel are in the community, that are leaders in what they do and how they can speak to how we need to bridge our stories. I host this show, the Our Unity show, because I want to share impactful stories that each individual has, their journey in life, their experiences, why they became the people they are, and why they aspire to be more than they are as well. And I realized in me building this organization that everyone has a story that can help and impact someone else's life if you just listen. And that's what I've been able to gather, as I've been out in the community and meeting different people such as Mimi, such as Shefik, and such as Diane, that even though they have families and even though they, have jobs, they're still out there fighting for something greater. They're fighting for others out there that are in underserved communities or, who just don't have the resources that they need in order to thrive. And I'm just so impressed with every last one of them. And I wanted them to share their story with you. So I want to introduce Mimi Pierre Johnson. She is a passionate community advocate, educator, and coalition builder dedicated to empowering underserved and immigrant communities. Born in Haiti and raised in New York, she has spent decades championing civic engagement, cultural awareness, and social justice across Long Island. As the founder and president of the Elmont Cultural Center, Mimi has created spaces for education, dialogue, and cultural exchange. She has served in leadership roles, including president of Argo Civic, vice president of the Community Coalition Council, and president of the Haitian American Political Action Committee. A recipient of the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, thanks to Sir Shefik and I, Mimi continues to lead issue-based campaigns and support legislative initiatives that promote equality and inclusion. She uses her voice to inform, inspire, and mobilize communities, bridging cultures and strengthening the collective call for unity and progress. And we also have Shefik McCauley, also known as Sir Shefik, is an Emmy Award-winning media personality, philanthropist, and technology innovator with over 30 years dedicated to empowering communities through media, education, and service. He currently serves as the managing director and local lead for NASA Space Apps Yonkers, helping bring the global NASA International Space Apps Challenge to Yonkers for the first time. A proud Yonkers resident, Sir Shefik is also a Knight Grand Cross in the Equestrian Order of Michael Archangel, honored for his charitable work and commitment to global unity. Beyond his role in technology and broadcasting, including his work with NBC and Peacock for the 2024 Summer Olympics, Shefik continues to uplift youth and foster cultural connection through leadership, mentorship, and advocacy. And then we have the incomparable Diane Katab. She is a dedicated wife, mother, and passionate advocate for human rights and community empowerment. Recently honored with the Presidential Volunteer Service Award, she has dedicated her life to uplifting underserved communities and amplifying the voices of working families through their impactful work with Jobs for Justice. A tireless volunteer and steadfast supporter of organizations such as the Elmont Cultural Cultural Center and our unity. Diane continues to champion causes that uphold dignity, equality, and compassion. Her unwavering commitment to service and her heart for others truly embody the spirit of unity and collective progress. So thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you guys so much for being here. I so appreciate it. I know that, it was a rough start to the morning, but we all made it, and I'm so glad that you guys are here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you for inviting us.
No
Wonderful
problem.
to be here.
All right, so we were talking about bridging our stories, and I know that each one of you have a story to tell about your life, your upbringing, the world today, and what you've experienced in your day-to-day lives. So I want to start with you, Mimi. Tell us a little about how and why you decided to start the Elmont Cultural Center. What was the reason?
I'm glad you asked that question because it has come full circle. If everyone remembers the years of the Crips and Bloods and, all I remember is blue and red. And I had on my street of one of each. And I didn't realize that was happening until one of my daughter's friends was standing across the street. I'm like, what are you doing? Come in the house. He says, I can't. I'm like, what do you mean you can't? I can't cross the street because that would be on somebody else's territory. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Wow. So I started to ask questions, and then I started to pay attention because I live between a elementary school and a junior high school and high school. So in the high school, you have junior high school and high school together. So I thought to myself, you're leaving 6th grade and you're going into a building with 18, 19-year-olds. Somehow that didn't sit well with me. And then added with this whole gang situation, seeing how, these kids have to think, I said, we need a place, a safe place for these young people to stay young as long as they can. And so I thought, I want a community center, so let's just do it. I learned a lot. It's not that easy. So then my next thing was, well, then I'm going to run for office and then do it myself. Again, I learned a lot. It's not that easy. So I ran for office and lost. But that feeling of taking care of the kids and in the future and why parents are not there from 3 to 7 o'clock at night. And so that's always has fueled me. And lastly, about 2 weeks ago, one of those young men that actually was in the gang, went to jail, came out, had a very rough teenage years. He is now an organizer for kids coming out of gangs and having a better life. And so he's going to start volunteering with us. And so that just happened. So those are the kind of things that I fight for, and the reason why we created the Elmont Culture Center, even though we don't have the building yet.
Yes. No, I think that is so impressive. And again, it was on your heart to build something for a community because the kids clearly did not have a good outlet, somewhere that they could go, where they could grow, where they can learn, and where they could be supported by their elders. So you created this space, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a building. It's by what you do. You put on so many great events for these kids in the community. And just the fact that they can show up and that you're providing all of the entertainment, you're providing the mentors is enough, and letting them know that they can reach out to you and contact you at any time. So I think that's so impressive. Thank you so much for all you do. And in terms of your story, I mean, you being, Haitian American, you were born in Haiti, or you?
I was born in Haiti.
You were born in Haiti. So tell me, real quick, sort of like the difference between you growing up there and then coming here to America and forging, this grand future for you and your family.
Well, I always say I adopted America, but, I was born in Haiti. And I say that because at 9 years old, you don't make the decision, I'm going to leave the country where I was born and to come here. But I love America for what I've always heard the stories in Haiti. The lack of good governance till today, really. But that was not my experience here. And so I always thought that if given a chance, I will always make sure that the way we tell people's stories in politics and how we help people, I wanted to learn that. And I've learned that from others. Like, why is it that I do what I do? And, funny story is I grew up thinking that I had this immense family because I always had people sleeping over my house. And come to find out at a later age that my parents often brought people from Haiti. They stayed with us until they were able to get a job, housing, and then they would move along. And I always call them auntie and uncles. And so I think that's the thing that I'm always trying to do, because I come from Haiti and I see, so many rich, uber rich folks in Haiti, as well as very poor. So I've always been privileged to see the differences of both sides. And I think that's what helps me to understand how to listen to people and how to be present in their lives and how I can change it. And so that's what I love being Haitian, especially. I'm very proud because, we showed the freedom. And so, yeah.
And the food is amazing too.
The food is amazing.
We just plug that real quick. And the music is too.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Always
love it.
compa.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I so
Yes.
appreciate everything that you're doing. And Sir Shefik, impressive resume, my friend. You see, I had to, preface it with Sir Shefik. You know what I mean?
You could curse it if you want.
Well, how's it? I'll do that just this one time. But yes, you have a very impressive resume, and I know that your family is also from Sierra Leone and migrated here to America. Tell us a little about like your story, because there had to be a reason why you've been so passionate about pursuing your dream, and you haven't stopped. Not to say your age, and I don't want to share, but the fact is that he has been pursuing just so many avenues, since I've known you, and we've known each other for quite a few years now, at least 4 years. And I see that you're doing so many different things all the time. So where did you get that from? And tell us just a little about, your history and your family upbringing.
Well, I can tell you, there's a saying, don't burn bridges, right? However, when you journey through life, people don't tell you the architecture of the bridge. They don't tell you how to find the materials for the bridge. So sometimes you end up burning the bridges without even knowing that the bridges are burnt. There's also a saying where your name enters the room before you do, which means that people talk about you. They have your perception of you before you even physically be there. So sometimes when I journey through my life and I meet people and I try to help people, try to help myself along the way, it's a lot of denial going on. Denial of things and resources that should have been given to me. Not to say I'm entitled to it, but you enter life assuming things are going to be there, because we are all collectively trying to better ourselves collectively. So the assumption is there, why are we not helping each other, right? So when we say burning bridges, I met a lot of people who don't even realize their bridges are burnt. So they continue to walk across that bridge and they fall, they collapse, right? So I try to build resources, try to build an architecture, a structure that's sound to let them know that there are other bridges. And sometimes the bridges that you're walking across are tainted, because these are the materials that you're given, because sometimes people give you things with intention of you being tainted, So my journey, my path in life is finding my own way. So I'm always staying busy. I'm always busy.
Yes, you are.
I'm tired all the time.
Oh, yes, you are.
Right? But people ask me all the time, how do I do it? How do I do it? It's sometimes it's not by choice. It's by knowing that if I stop, there are other people that want me to stop. So it's not that I'm satisfied with what I have or I can be content. People out there want you to be in a certain frame of mind and mentality to think that you're less than or you're not better than something else. So it's, again, crossing that bridge. When you cross the bridge, then you have the opportunity to look back and you take people along the way, because now that you cross that bridge, whether it's tainted or not, you have a means where you are the bridge at that point. You are the materials, you are the structure that could help people along the way. That's what I try to do.
And that's what you have been doing. Since I met this gentleman, whatever room he is in, he is connecting people. And he's making sure he's listening to your story, and he's making sure that he hears your story, so that even if he doesn't see you again or connect with you again, if he does happen to run across you, he remembers what you did, where you're from, and then he'll try to connect you with someone who may be able to help you in whatever your goal or your path is. And that's what he's done with me. When I first met him, I think he was so impressed with the fact that I had a show on cable. And, we connected that way. And then once I met him, I was like, I need you. You don't need me. Like, it was so amazing because to meet him, and he's so humble, and he went and he shared his story, and I was just so impressed. And the roads that he's been able to navigate, and like he said, the bridges that he's been able to build, even the ones you had to burn down too, the ones that he's been able to build are so strong, and it impacts and it helps everyone that comes in contact with him, because he is all about sharing what he knows, helping you get to the next level, and wanting you to be better. You know what I mean? And I see that even with me, and I so appreciate you for that. So thank you so much. All right, now we're on to my beautiful Diane Kantav. Now you're going to love this accent. So speak to us real quick. Just talk.
Well, I'm going to be speaking quite a bit, but thank
This
you.
is Diane
Thank you.
Kantav, and this is my beautiful friend that I met also a few years ago. We were connected by a beautiful friend, Janie. Share the story on how we met.
So I'm an organizer for Long Island Jobs with Justice. So we mainly support low-wage workers across Long Island. But I think most women in this room were born organizers. That's how I see it. And no disrespect to the men, but I think we organize everything in our day for everyone from the minute we open our eyes. So one of the things that was near and dear to my heart was always thinking about women, and there's so much struggle all of the time. And for people that are struggling to provide for their children, when it came to prom time, I thought about what I did with my daughter, and I was blessed to be able to do it. But there are people that couldn't do what I was able to do. So I wanted to have a local prom giveaway, prom dress giveaway. And so our beautiful friend, mutual friend, and she sends you hugs and love, by the way, Janie Lynch, connected me to LaShawn. And we together collaborated to bring the first of how many have you done so far?
4 years now.
Yeah, so there's been 4 local prom dress giveaways. And it was beautiful, and it was a collaboration of hearts and women, not just the two of us, that brought it together. And they did, it was just beautiful. It wasn't just dresses. It was empowering young people to believe in themselves. It was a gift of love. It was when people walked out of the room, they really felt like they spent a day just reclaiming themselves and connecting with other people. So it's done so much more, which I'm sure you can speak to. But that's just one of the things that's near and dear to my heart. There's just so many things across this island that need to be addressed. And I think we all can do a small part and I love your shirt. I'm sitting here looking at your shirt saying, you are enough. And when I look at that and see that this says you are enough, I also hear the other voice saying, meet people where they're at. And so that's huge for me.
I love that. Yes, we have expanded. I also partner with my beautiful Queen Celine. Give them a wave in the audience now. And we have added that we are also helping the young men. So it's called a prom giveaway now, and it is providing suits and dresses for the kids in the community. And they've traveled from all over. This year, we actually had people come all the way from Yonkers, from Westchester.
Wow.
Like it's growing,
awesome.
and it's really amazing.
Love it.
Well, Diane, you
Yeah.
mentioned that you work for Jobs for Justice, but I
Yeah.
know that your heart of service had to come from somewhere, and it didn't just start with you working with your present job. So tell us, you know, from your upbringing and your life, like where did you find that desire to want to help those in underserved communities?
So I come from really humble beginnings, and I was listening to everything here from what everything was said, and I could connect to everything that you said. My mother was Jewish and Nigerian, and my father was Jamaican. And I grew up in a multicultural place in Manchester in the United Kingdom. I am an Afro-Caribbean woman. I am deeply connected to my Caribbean roots. And that said, I'll just tell you a quick story. I have a friend, Joan, and we go to the Caribbean parade in Brooklyn, and we go to the children's parade, and they always ask, where are you from? Raise your hand. Are you from Barbados? Are you from Haiti? And the list goes on. And my friend Joan sits there and she raises her hand to every island. And I said to Joan, Joan, why do you do this? She said, but Diane, we are one. And it is so true. We are one. And I'm a big believer in leave that divide and conquer stuff back there and be united. Don't let anything divide us as human beings, because that's the tool that the oppressor will use constantly in your mind, in the images that we see of social media. So that for me is very important. But back to my beginnings, my mother was such a hardworking woman. I don't know when she ever slept, but she always had a smile, and she genuinely loved people, and she'd do anything for anyone. And as a child, you don't really realize what that is. But as I got older, I kept thinking, I don't know that I can be like my mom. My mom's just special. She's something. But you start somewhere by just a kind word. Somebody needs something. If you have it, you give it. And so that act of service was there from a very young age, in that whatever you have, you share it. And so I was fortunate enough to come here when I was 18 years old. And New York, for me, there's no place like it. I love it. I love the diversity. I don't care what anybody says. New York is it. I wouldn't live anywhere else. And I've been to a few places. So fast forward to my life here in the US. I met my husband, Emile, who happens to be Haitian, back in 1990. And I didn't really know much about Haiti. And when I started to learn about Haiti, I really thought about how can I really do something that is meaningful for people, for community, in a way that makes sense. I actually didn't start my work life as an organizer. I was a pharmacy technician for Rite Aid. And I tell you this story because I want everybody to know that you all have power in one way or another. And all of the stores except for 4 were unionized stores. And mine was one of the stores that was not unionized. And I fought for that store to become unionized. And the union was 1199 SCIU. Yes, you 1199 member back there? Yeah, great union, healthcare union. It changed, not only did it change my life, it changed life for everybody in the store. And I went on to help 2 other stores become unionized. But my work as an organizer that is where it started. The political director of 1199 at that time, Michelle Lynch, she came to, you remember Michelle? Mimi? Yeah, wonderful human being. She would have member political organizers across the island, and that means right now this is voting time, right? So it means that members would come out, they would door knock, and it would be really impactful and effective, because they would not only share about the candidates, they would share with people about the importance of local elections, which a lot of people only think, the presidential election. No, not true. And so I got to learn all about that because I was pulled out, and I got a taste for organizing. And to make a long story short, fast forward, there was an opening for Long Island Jobs with Justice, and I was hired for Long Island Jobs with Justice as a workers' rights organizer. And as you were saying here, there are bridges and journeys, and experienced all of those things. But to say where I am now, it's because of the relationships. and the relationships are really important. We work in coalition with unions, nonprofit organizations, volunteers, and community activists. And one of the organizations that we work very closely with is the Almont Culture Center. I honestly can sit here and tell you we couldn't do the work that we do without Mimi and her organization. And so those partnerships are really essential into improving life, especially for low-wage workers and women across the island.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, you see that each one of them has a story as to why they became the advocates and the activists and the people with heart, why they became these types of people and why they feel it's necessary for them to serve. So you see the world that we're living in today. And I know that it's always been hard. I mean, my parents used to tell me, oh my God, you have no idea. I got to get up. I got to go to work. I got to do all these things. And it was always, you know, pressed upon them to tell me and my brother that we just needed to do the very best that we could so that we can achieve our dreams. Go to school, get an education, make sure you meet the right people, you're connecting with people, and make sure you have a great heart. And I tried to make sure that I did that. But now in this world, it's making me feel it's so much harder, you know, to accomplish the dreams and the desires of my heart by just those little tidbits that my parents have given me. Things are changing so quickly, and I feel there's a lot of powers and principalities that be that are trying to keep us down rather than to move us forward. So I want to ask you, when you look at the world today, socially, politically, spiritually, what do you see happening that concerns you the most or moves you the most right now? Go ahead, Mimi.
I think the disconnect between human beings. I mean, I'm always on social media, but I'm looking for stories. I'm looking to find out what's happening to people. But I still get connected. I'll call Diane, you know, I still get connected with people because the most important thing is to know what people are going through.
Yes.
When I am in room, whether with politicians or unions or anyone, when they ask about what's happening, I talk about the people's story.
Yeah.
And I have hundreds of stories because I just listen or I watch. I watch who's going to collect cans. I watch who's, you know, in a beautiful SUV that's coming out into my recycling bin and looking for those cans. So, you know, it's not we I feel are the bridges to what people are going through. We may say to go out and vote or go do something, but some people will never, ever have enough strength to voice what's happening to them. And so I always feel like we are the ones that's supposed to have the privilege to tell somebody else's story so that those that are in power, even if they, you know, in public, even if they're acting however they're acting for theater, but I want to make sure that when I leave you, I don't care how horrible you are, I'm going to pull that heartstring because you're a human being. So that's the connection I feel that we are losing in the, you know, social justice or organizing work that we do. But I am, and I'll say this, I feel like the ancestors that lost their lives and their blood has shed on every ground in this world is calling on those of us with privilege. And when I say privilege, when you're telling somebody's story, you are being privileged to tell that story. And I feel that is what we're missing, and that's what gives me hope, and that's what I go after.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And how do you feel about that, Shafiq? How do we make sure those stories get out into the world? I mean, you're in a lot of different spaces and you're part of the UN, you're a SIR, you've been knighted, and worked for NBC, all these things. But how do you start that conversation so that people will understand how desperately, you know, we work together is?
Right. So I created my own platform. It's called Invocation. Actually, 2026, I celebrate the 10th anniversary of this. It's a syndicated radio show, 20 stations around the country, AM, FM stations, as well as a video series that's international. I've interviewed over 1,000 people over the years. People who are in needing a voice, or an amplification of that voice. Sometimes people do interviews or they talk to people and they don't tell their full story, because we're talking about telling stories. So sometimes people need to know it's okay to tell their story. So when I do my show, it's done in a safe space. I've had people who have, when I say radio show, they think they're coming to radio stations, nothing like that. You've experienced a little bit of it. You haven't experienced all of it. But I've had people on the show that come and they show up thinking they're only going to tell a fraction of what they think I want them to hear. It's an organic conversation to begin with. So I never know actually what I'm going to say. But I guess I have a way of people being calm and creating a safe space, and they tell me their stories. Revealing things. I've had people tell me they wanted to commit suicide. I had people who are victims of sexual abuse, substance abuse, people who are, I've had murderers on the show, people who went away for 19 years. I wanted to have a topic about death. I want to know what have they learned, things like that. All sorts of people, all ages, all demographics. And again, I never knew they're going to tell me these stories. But sometimes people need to know it's okay to tell their stories. So they want to tell their stories, but know that when they tell their stories, it's entrusted. So when I amplify it, I don't manipulate the words. It's all done in one single take. So whatever they say, they have to own that conversation. They have to own themselves. I'm just a platform, for doing that. So when we talk about doing the outreach and so on, I've learned so much from that. And when I started, I actually went back to people that I haven't talked to maybe 20 years. Wow. And some of them celebrities, I work with celebrities and things like that, but people that are ordinary people. I wanted to figure out, have their egos been defined enough to where they know their definition of their ego? Sometimes people walk in their conceit and their ego, and that burns the bridges in a certain sense. So I've come to find out 20 years later, of course, they realize some of these things. And it's not to put them on a platform to shame them, but it's now, how do you learn from that? My platform, it's always been a 20-year objective. I'm now, again, approaching the 10 years, so I have 10 more years. But when we say 20 years, that's a full generation. So I went back 20 years, I'm going forward 20 years. So now I'm always the type of person where I need to know where other people are positioned in their own life in order for me to proceed in my life. In order for me to do that accurately and precisely and with some sort of integrity, I need to talk to the people. I need to talk to them in a way that's meaningful enough to where I'm accepting and acknowledging what they have to say, and I'm listening, and I'm using it as a means to bring people together. So my show is all about definitions. I give one people a topic and they have to speak a single take, and so on, and I match it with a song. So I like to amplify life with music, right? We need the melodies of song to find our way to dance through life.
Yes.
So that's what I try to do.
I love it. I love that. So in terms of, people here using their voice and getting it out and sharing, what suggestion do you have for them? Come on your show?
Well, I put me on the spot. Well, I say first and foremost, it's showing up in the moment, right? And as of right now, this is the moment, right? We're celebrating the second annual Voices of Unity. I was fortunate we collaborated last year and as you see, I kicked you out.
No, I think it's the other way around. But
I
go ahead. Continue the
we
conversation.
collaborated. I already want to see
It's Voices of Unity. Not
we did a Voice of
Harambe,
Unity.
but not
We
Harambe.
tried to do a collaborative thing, but I felt that her platform and her way that she wanted to do it, her vision, and so Young's vision, needed a better stage for that. And you have it now, right? And for all of you to be present in that moment, you can now witness this. You could take it home to your families, to your friends, and be part of the process, because that's what it takes. It takes a lot to do something like this. It takes a lot for ourselves to be on the stage, to put ourselves out there like that. It takes a lot for you to listen and accept and validate what we are here to do. And hopefully, next year you could be on the stage show, tell your stories, because that's what's important. That's what Voices of Unity is all about.
Yes.
Right? So that's why your presence here matters, right? It's about being involved in the community, because you are the community. Right? If you're not here, we have no purpose to be here either. So your feedback helps us better.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that is so true. You're absolutely right. This would not be if it wasn't for you guys. So I totally appreciate that. All right, Diane, real quick. How do we make sure that voices that have been silenced or marginalized for generations are finally heard and valued in the conversations that we're having today, especially in your work as well?
I think people think that what they have to say doesn't have value. And when I say that, it really is important to speak your truth. And my truth is different from your truth, right? But nonetheless, it's all true. One of the ways that we do this work at Jobs with Justice, as I mentioned, we work in coalition. We work directly with faith leaders across Long Island. And as you all are seeing right now, these mass deportations, and I have to talk about it a little bit here, because it's real. 3,000 people across Long Island have been deported. Yeah, 3,000 people. 1,400 of them have been jailed. And it's not just about people that you feel are immigrants. My son, born in the United States, born in Queens, 6'2", locks to his shoulders, driving 3 weeks ago near the Source Mall, was pulled over by ICE.
Oh, man. Wow.
We had just had a conversation before he left the house about these situations and how you need to respond and not react. And he's very big about that. He's almost 32 years old, and he's wise. He's a wise old soul. You know Glenn, Mimi, you know Glenn, LaShawn. He said when he was pulled over, he sat there and he thought immediately about our conversation that morning, and whoever this person was came over and said, "Give me your license." And he'd walked out the house without his driver's license. But he's been talking to my husband and I both about taking our passports with us. And he had that in his pocket. And he pulled it out and he didn't say a word and he gave it to them. So this individual, he took the passport and he went to his car and did whatever he was doing in this computer, and he handed it back and said, "You're free to go." But it could have gone a number of ways, right?
Yeah.
So I think that when we are saying, what can we do as individuals, you can speak up if you see an injustice. You can, if you're a part of a church or wherever you worship, talk to your congregation, talk to your leaders, and ask them to be a voice for community. And when I say be a voice for community, it can be something as simple as gathering 10 people and having them call your local congressperson and asking, what are you doing about this situation? Can we meet with you? Because we're concerned about our friends, about our neighbors. And so I think right now, by shedding light on what you see, just even in a conversation with your neighbor may not realize what's going on. I work with someone who helps day laborers. She takes them maybe some fruit, chats with them in the morning, and she said one of the most disturbing things that she saw last week was that she went to talk to a group of laborers, and the usual group was not there. And when she drove around the corner, there was a bicycle, and the bicycle was chained up and left, and nobody ever came back for it. And so chances are that this person was kidnapped.
Wow.
And so by her sharing this information with me, I'm part of a coalition, and we are going to use that bicycle and add a sign at an event coming up where we will maybe connect with someone when they look at that bike and the sign saying this belonged to someone who was trying to work for the day and now he is gone.
Wow.
So, but I mean, there's powerful ways to make these connections, and there's powerful ways to be able to to raise your voice. So that's one of the things that we're doing.
I love
Yeah.
that you say that.
Yeah.
And it is. It's important that we actually speak up. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad that everything is okay with Glenn. I did
Thank
not
you.
realize that.
Yeah.
But I know that
Thank
must
you.
have been scary.
It was
And
jarring.
again, I'm sure every last one of you knows someone that was affected or is being affected by what's going on right now in the immigration system. So please be mindful and helpful to those around you. Well, we're running down on time. Thank you
Yeah.
guys so much. But I wanted to know if anyone had a question from the audience. You are definitely able to ask real quick before we wrap up. Anyone have a question? Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you for being here. Real quick, two seconds or less. Share with me what's on your heart and how we can continue to bridge our stories for other people to just want to be able to give back and serve in their communities. 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Love.
Just keep loving each other and supporting each other. And even if you don't understand, ask questions and just try to participate.
Same for you, Shepard.
The journey continues right here and everywhere.
I think it's so important to have a kind word and a smile for everybody. Always do that because you never know what someone's going through.
That's right.
So,
That's
yeah.
right.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and now we're going to move on to a raffle.
Yay.
Let's get the
Thank you.
You can keep it.
All right. Thank you so much. Now we're going to do a raffle.
Okay.
Thank you
Great.
guys. Be
Thank you.
careful.
Oh, yeah.
Bobby,
Thank you. I forgot about this.